Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. So welcome, friends, to this evening's Dhamma discussion and meditation practice after a 2-week absence during this program. So before I left, I had suggested that, in these 2 weeks that you re-listen to some of the previous recorded Dhamma talks that I was given, and seeing if there was any questions on any particular of those topics that you'd like to ask any questions on, or it could be some other Dhamma questions. So, so I'd like to invite any of you have any questions, you can, raise the yellow hand on your computer, if you know where that is, or you could just ask a question, with your voice. So feel free to ask any question if you like. Or wait, let's see what's in there's something down in the chat, so we'll see if there's any questions from the chat. This chat thing is not working. I was reading in 2 books how we are really all connected to everything, but our thinking makes us feel separate. I can see how thinking creates a sense of self, but I don't see how awareness necessarily makes you feel connected. Can you talk about this? So in our normal state of mind, our conditioned mind, we have the dualistic perceptions, and everything that we experience through our senses basically is connected with the past and the future, and ourself in relation to the past and the future. And it's connected with things that we like, things that bring us pleasurable feeling, and things that bring us painful feeling. So everything we see, hear, taste, smell, touch, even think about, most of those objects are which, we're relating to them from what you heard, seen, taste, smell, touched, thought about in the past. And then your desire or fear of encountering those same objects again in the future. And so it's the sense of self actually that makes you feel separate from everything else. Everything's an object. So people you see as somebody out there that you relate to, either again with desire, aversion, or indifference. And so is all the objects that you encounter. So only in the deeper states of meditation, whether you attain jhana or you just develop a deep level of, mindfulness, and well, as I normally mention, when mindfulness reaches the state of concentration or jhana, then that is when the sense of the self begins to fade away, and where this kind of me against them, or the objects, the desire and the aversion for the objects or the people that you may be in your awareness, that breaks down, and it doesn't necessarily make you connected to them, but it creates a state of equanimity, and sometimes there's a sense of awareness, especially when the sense of the ego fades away more and more and more. Then there's a feeling of kind of, you could say, being connected to things. But each person is going to experience that in a different way, or how, depending on how they've learned or read about it or related to it, and so on. So it's basically the ego and our attachment and aversions that keep us, making us feel separate from the things. But in terms of being connected, you feel connected because you're not feeling attracted to want to have them, or you're not feeling any aversion to want to get away from them. So in that sense, it may seem like you're connected, but and it depends. There's so many different degrees of awareness, or concentrated awareness, and that would depend on all the states of the jhanas. You've heard about the first four jhanas. Each one of those is a deeper level of awareness. Especially, we're talking about Vipassana-Jhana, not Apana-Jhana, where you get absorbed in one object, but the Vipassana-Jhana, where the hindrances are subsided, and you gain the piti and the sukha and the one-pointedness, but awareness is still there. You're still aware of things going on around you. And so because of that, there's a connection, a sense of connection. And so the first jhana is there on a lower level, and each with a second, third, fourth jhana, as you stay in that state, you reach deeper and deeper levels, in which the fourth jhana is the one where it's said to be purified mindfulness and equanimity. And there you would probably be experiencing the closest thing to, a feeling of being one with things and so on. So that's about what I would explain in that situation, or in that experience. Okay, Mr. Udiana,
yes.
You have your yellow hand up. You have a question?
Just want to ask you a question. We talk about meditation while doing something or walking. How about when you're talking, like making a talk? How can you apply awareness when you're in the middle of a talk, or during a talk, or whatever? Maybe we can apply those same principles.
Well, the way that I cultivate it, and with the way that I suggest and recommend, which is the way that the Buddha did also, is being grounded and centered in the body. And so even right now, when I'm explaining this to you, there's a state of awareness that's going on, even though I'm still talking. That means I can feel my body, I can be aware of things going on around, but it doesn't distract from my ability to focus and talk. But that takes a lot of training to do that, because when you're not grounded and centered kind of more in the present moment, and in the body, then you lose that kind of awareness, and you get drawn out of your eyeballs, so to speak. And when you're maybe reacting to what people are saying, you're having a conversation with people, maybe they're saying something you don't like, and you kind of react to that, with some reaction or some, you have some other opinion and so on. That's because a person is not, centered and concentrated in themselves. So that's the way that, you can develop that ability to maintain the concentration and the mindfulness in the midst of, doing things, in the midst of talking. Now, there's a whole practice now, a spin-off from Vipassana meditation is something called inside dialogue. And this is a specific training that's gaining popularity. There's even retreats given on, workshops given on inside dialogue. But the technique is by first gaining centeredness and groundedness in the body, and then being able to talk. And you have a partner, or, one or two people that, and you have some specific dialogue talking to them, but it's based on staying connected with the body, and in that way you're able to observe your reactions to what the other person is saying. You feel some tension. Maybe the person says something you don't agree with. You can feel some tension or this urge to want to blurt out and rebut the person. So, but you can observe that, and so you can refrain from doing those kind of reactive reactions. But it's because they, first of all, they've trained themselves or practiced some meditation before that.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
No, I think quite better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Anybody else have any questions? If not, there was a question that somebody had previously. They asked me to maybe speak about my trip to Brazil. And I could do that if there's no other Dhamma questions, give you a kind of brief summary of the about 2.5 week trip in Brazil and the retreats that I had there.
That would be nice.
So anybody have any other last Dhamma questions before we get into that? Okay, so as you all know, I went to Brazil, and I've gone to Brazil been going there since about 2005. Even I went there one time in about 2000, in 96, I think, for the first time. And there are some Buddhist groups in Brazil, and especially in Rio de Janeiro, in Sao Paulo, in Belo Horizonte. Those are the main Buddhist groups, and Bhante Gunaratana had gone to these groups even before I started going there. And then when he wanted to start cutting down on his trips to Brazil, he's getting older, he asked me to then go down and lead some of the meditation. So that's how it kind of started. And so I had gone down there sometimes every year for a while, sometimes every other year. But this year, I went only to Sao Paulo, and there was a retreat at a Catholic. Usually they have the retreats in Catholic convents or retreat centers that are run by, Catholic monks or nuns, because Brazil is a heavy Catholic country. Anyway, they have nice facilities. And there was 54 people who came to the retreat. because they don't have a lot of teachers coming down there. So, when somebody comes down there and leads a retreat, then the people who haven't been on a retreat for a long time, they want to come. So this retreat, the subject of this retreat was on the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And so that was the topic of the retreat. And about more than half of the students were people who have come to my retreats in previous years. And then there was a lot of sort of new people, at least to me, who also came. So basically, the retreat is pretty much the way I normally, lead retreats. To include some yoga and mindfulness of the body, starting with that, and then following the Satipatthana Sutta, the mindfulness, because the 4 foundations of mindfulness is basically, you first use the breathing to get centered in the body, and centered, more grounded in the present moment. And then from that, you can observe your feelings, pleasant and painful feelings, without, reacting to them. You can kind of have detachment toward them. And as you're able to observe your feelings, you see the thoughts that are triggered off by those sensations. So that's how, those first 3 foundations of mindfulness in the Satipatthana Sutta, they follow out in that order. That you can't just immediately start observing your feelings without having some degree of concentration. So the mindfulness of breathing and then the sitting posture, being aware of the posture, being aware of your movements, is outlined in mindfulness of the body, and the elemental vibrations. All those are helping to develop, concentration, even up to the point of the first jhana. You can reach practicing that. And then you have a good, strong equanimity and detachment, so you can observe the feelings, how they're impermanent and changing, and start to develop the insight into impermanence. And then you can clearly see your thoughts. With that degree of concentration, you can see your thoughts objectively without getting carried away by them. And then you can identify, this is a mind with greed, this is a mind with anger, this is a mind with confusion, and but without getting carried away in them. And then all that is helping to develop your concentration. And then you can contemplate the 5 aggregates, the 6 senses, develop the factors of enlightenment. And hopefully, if you have enough, conditions are right, it can lead to the realization of the 4 Noble Truths. Anyway, so basically that's the theme of the retreat. Not everybody certainly is going to reach or go through all those particular levels, but that's what the topic of the retreat was about. And after the retreat was actually just 5 days. And then after, I had a chance to go down to the beach. So Sao Paulo is located about 50 kilometers from the ocean. And a couple of people, some person offered to take me down, and they had a family member who had a nice house on a mountain overlooking the ocean. And we stayed there a couple of days and had nice views of the sunset and the ocean there. And then went on a drive down the coast a bit. And then came back. And then I went to a forest monastery, which is about a 5-hour drive from Sao Paulo, in a town called San Lorenzo. San Lorenzo is famous for the healing waters. So actually a lot of water bottling companies have bought stakes in all these springs and these mineral waters that are come up there in San Lorenzo. There's a big park about that. Anyway, I visited this monastery. It's called Sudavari Monastery. And there's 3 monks, Brazilian monks living there. And I've known the abbot of that monastery, Venerable Mudito. He's a Brazilian monk. And they have a very beautiful monastery there. I have a video of it. Maybe I'm going to try to put it up on my blog one day. But they have a number of kutis spread out over the hills. That the monks live in the kutis, and actually a couple of the monks actually go into the village for pindapata every day and collect food, but they also have a couple of lay people usually who are staying there that also, like prepare breakfast and lunch if needed as well. Very similar to, kind of the situation we have here at the Lion of Wisdom Center, where Sri Lankans, we don't go on pindapata, but they bring the food here. Anyway, so I stayed a few days in that monastery. I gave a Dhamma talk in their new Dhamma hall, and then I gave a couple of talks in the city, São Paulo, before I came back just last Saturday. So, kind of very briefly, that was my trip down to Brazil. And coming back at Dulles Airport, I had to spend an hour and a half waiting in the line of customs to get out of the immigration and customs hall there because there were so many foreign people and foreign flights landing at Dulles Airport from India and all kind of other African countries. So they all had to go through this, this immigration checks. Even they didn't let people like me who just, go up in front. We had to wait in line. So anyway, it's all a chance to practice patience and so on. So that's that. And if anybody has any questions about that or any other Dhamma questions that come to mind, we still have some time to entertain that. Otherwise, we can have a longer yoga and meditation session.
So when did Buddhism come to Brazil?
Please speak up a little louder. I don't know who is speaking, but
Yeah, this is Olga. I just wanted to see when there was when first time Buddhism came to Brazil, if you know that history.
say that again, please. I couldn't quite hear you well.
Oh, let me chat.
Yeah. Bhante, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's kind of soft. Can you speak louder?
Okay, Bhante. So the question is, when did the Buddhism arrive in Brazil?
When did Buddhism arrive in Brazil? Well, I can't answer that with any accurate information. Although, there's a lot of Japanese people in Brazil, and they came to Brazil probably even the last century even. Of course, there are some Japanese temples there. So that could have been one of the first types of Buddhism that came to Brazil was, immigrants from Japan, maybe China too, but I know in Japan there is quite a number of Japanese people in São Paulo. And then I guess in Rio de Janeiro, there was a Sri Lankan man, a monk who came to Rio de Janeiro back in the 50s, I think, or early 60s, and he started a temple in a place in Rio called Santa Teresa. And he bought some land and he started a temple there. Later he disrobed and he was a layperson, and he invited some monks to come there. But this was already, in the 60s or very early 70s. And when I was first a young monk in Sri Lanka, there was actually an older monk who was preparing to stay at that temple in Rio de Janeiro. And he was staying in the monastery where I was ordained there. And he asked me, "Oh, do you want to go with me to Rio de Janeiro?" But I was only a young monk then, in my first year as being a monk. And I didn't feel I was ready to go to Rio de Janeiro, which is known for being a place of, sensual pleasures and all that. So, I declined. I didn't go at the time. But then I guess, later on, then I did. So anyway, there are a number of Zen temples in Brazil, and Tibetan Buddhism is actually quite popular in Brazil. So Tibetan lamas and Brazilian people have become Tibetan, lamas and nuns, monks and nuns. And they probably have more temples in the Mahayana tradition in Brazil than Theravada. So in Theravada, there's as far as I know, there's just those places that I've mentioned already, 3 or 4 lay groups. And now this Thai Wat Sudhavari is now an official branch of the Thai Forest Sangha in Brazil. And that might be the only formal connection to a country, Buddhist country that I know of. So that's about all I can say about it.
Thank you very much.
Bhante, there is a question in chat.
Another chat, let me see. Do the Brazilian monks teach Dhamma in English or Portuguese? The Ajahn Mudjito teaches in Portuguese, but when I go there, or Bhante Ji went there, there are people that translate, Brazilian lay people who translate. So there was one Brazilian person who translated for my retreat that I had mentioned. And then when I went to Sudhavari and gave the Dhamma talk there, and it was over Zoom, Ajahn Mudjito, who speaks, pretty much fairly perfect English, he translated my talk. He also speaks Thai. So it would depend on the Brazilian monks. If they speak fluent English, they might, and if there's enough people, but generally most of the people speak Portuguese. Now, if he goes somewhere else, goes to England or somewhere, he might give a Dhamma talk in English. But Portuguese is the language they speak, not Spanish. Even Spanish is quite different the way from Portuguese. And even Brazilians who speak Portuguese in Portugal, Portuguese people have a difficult time understanding Brazilians who speak Portuguese, so, let alone Spanish. So normally they're at least when, Western monks like myself or Bhante Ji, or Bhante Buddharakita, we've all gone down there, they have translators. And are the sutras translated into local language there? Yes, there's one person who is connected with access to insight. I think it's called Accesso do Insight. And they've published, there's one Brazilian person who has translated a lot of Pali Suttas into Portuguese. And this is on this access to insight. There's a Portuguese suttas there. So yes, they are being translated into Portuguese. A lot, not all, of course, but a lot. So, basically, so many countries around the world, European countries, just as within Brazil, it's the same situation. In almost all the European countries, there are some temples and there are monks from those countries, even in Slovakia now, and some Croatia, I think, even some of those monks who learned in Thailand or Sri Lanka, they've gone back to their countries. So, uh, the Theravada tradition is slowly spreading. And of course, even in this country, there are probably more Tibetan centers than there are, well, I can't say that for certainty, but anyway, Tibetan and Zen and Theravada, they're all represented quite predominantly, in numbers here in this country and also in Europe too. So it's Tibetan, Zen, and even, Pure Land and Theravada. It's all it's spreading around the world. Any last questions? Okay, so if there's no other questions, then let's take a few minutes break, and then we'll have a little bit longer, maybe session of some yoga stretches and a long.
Bhante, you have to unmute yourself. Yeah, unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, Bhante.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yes.
Thanks, Prashant, for mentioning that. Okay. So where were we? Okay, let's come back. Gently close your eyes. Feel the standing body. Then begin some deep, slow breathing. Try to take 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs 2 or 3 seconds. Then slowly breathe out. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Take several more deep, slow breaths, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to combine this deep, slow breathing with these movements. Do the movement while breathing in, holding that position for 2 or 3 seconds. The air kept in the lungs. Return to the starting point on the out breath. Feeling the last bit of air go out to the lungs. Repeat each exercise 3 times. The whole time, keep the attention focused in the body, feeling the sensations, letting go of your thoughts. You can observe me as I lead you through this. So on the next in-breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten your arms, stretch upwards, stretch the head back. And on the out-breath, release your fingers, and lower the arms back to the sides on the out-breath. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. And again, in-breath, Hands over the head, stretch up, bend back a little bit. Feel the sensations. Release the fingers. Out breath, arms back to the sides. Once more, in breath. Stretch up, bend back a little more. Feel the arch in the lower spine. Feel the sensation. Hold it a little longer. Release the fingers, out breath, arms back to the sides. Feel the subtle sensations in your hands and fingers. Feel the clothing touching the skin of your arms and chest. Close the eyes, or feel the outline of the body. Just remember the present moment of standing, letting go of your thought. Hold the outline of the standing body in the mind's eye. Remember standing, repeating the word standing. Don't keep the feeling of a standing body in the mind's eye. Feel the subtle sensation. And the next in breath, lift up on the toes while raising the arms over the head in this way. Face the hands toward each other about 6 inches apart and stretch up. Out breath, come back down, arms to the sides. Feel the air come out of the lungs. And then in breath up. Use the in breath to help lift up the body on the toes. Stretch. Out breath. Once more in. Out. Close the eyes. Keep feeling the body. Can't feel the outline of the body, just feel your hands, the tingling sensations in your hands. Feel the feet pressing the floor. Just remember standing. Letting your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. The body in front of the awareness. So many different sensations you can notice. Clothing touching the skin, aches or pains, heartbeat, also blood, itchy, scratchy sensation, so many sensations. The more you can notice, the more centered and grounded in the body and mind will come. Okay, next we'll do side bending. So on the next in-breath, raise both arms up. Keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out breath, bend over your right side. Go stretch inside. In breath, lift up. And to the left side, out breath. Just keep alternating sides like that with breathing. Once more to each side. The out breath, lower the arms. Close the eyes, keep feeling the body. Increase body sensation. Earth vibration. The earth element, most of the sensations you feel in the earth element. Feet pressing the floor, clothing touching the skin. Earth vibration. Letting go of your thoughts. Just think body, 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 body. Next we'll do the knee bending. For the next in breath, lift up on the toes, raise the arms up front for balance. On the out breath, bend the knees, lower down, balancing on the balls of the feet. Come down in the squatting position if you can. And on an in breath, feel the muscles in the legs, pushing the body up on the toes. Out breath, squatting down. In. Out. A little longer. In. Out breath, relax. Feel the increased heartbeat for the pulsation. Feel the outline of the body, the mind's eye. Feel all those activated life force vibration. Sensations on the surface of the skin, the clothing rubbing the skin. Sensations under the skin, heartbeat, pulsation, tingling sensation, like aches or pain. Just remember standing. Now, spread your legs apart, your feet. Holding the arms out at the sides, we'll do twisting from right to left to get the spinal column, the lateral twist, improve circulation in the spinal column. Breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. The in breath, come back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body and then go to the other side with the next out breath. In breath. Again to the right, out breath. Once more to each side. Lower the arms, close the eyes. Feel each foot pressing the floor. The arms and hands hanging at the sides, clothing touching the skin. The head balanced on top, the eyes in the socket. This body exactly as it is, here and now. Feels increased organic aliveness, cellular vibration. Millions, billions of cells interacting, vibrating, all the sensation. Feel or imagine that. Now, place the hands together, chest. In the in-breath, raise the hands over the head. In the out-breath, lower the hands to the chest and bend your knees, lower down. Keep the back upright, feel the stretch in your hips and knees. In-breath, lift up, all the way up, hands over the head. Out-breath, lower down. In. Out. The out breath, lower the arms. Back to the sides. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Now bring the legs closer back together. We'll do a couple of head and neck exercises, starting with the head turning from right to left. On the in-breath, turn the head to the right. Look over your right shoulder, with a twist of the neck. On the out-breath, turn the head all the way back to the left, and look over the left shoulder. In-breath back to the right. Concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Feel or imagine them loosening up. Out breath left. In breath right. Left. In the in breath, let the head stop in the center. Feel the whole body. Standing, standing, standing. Present moment, body centered awareness. The first stage of concentration. Concentrated awareness. Now the next head and neck exercise. On the in-breath, raise your chin upwards. And on an out-breath, stretch the head further back to look up at the ceiling. In-breath, lift the head up and jut the chin out a bit. And out-breath, press the chin to the little notch at the top of the chest. Stretch the neck vertebrae. In-breath, raise the chin up. Out-breath, stretch the head back. In-breath, lift the head. Out-breath, press the chin to the chest. Once more, in-breath. Out breath, head back. In breath, lift the head. Out breath, chin to the chest. In breath, lift chin up level. Relax. Feeling the body. Don't give the mind time to rush to the future, lost in thought. Just this body here and now, standing, breathing, pulsating, life force vibration. There's one last exercise of backward and forward bending. Be careful with this exercise, especially with the back bends, not to bend back too far the first time. But turn the palms outward, try to touch the edges of your hands and fingers together. And on an in-breath, raise the hands up until they come up to about the level of your eyes. And begin spreading your arms apart. And breathe out, and bend backward as you breathe out. Look at the ceiling. The arms come out horizontally at the sides. And the arch of the spine. In breath, lift up. Keep the arms out to the sides. And out breath, lower the arms and hands down. Bend down towards the floor. Try to touch the floor if you can. Keep the legs straight. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. Begin standing up. And turn the palms outward. The in-breath, lift the hands up. And the out-breath, spread the arms apart, bend back. In-breath, lift up. And out-breath, lower the hands down. Downward stretch. Once more, standing up, palms outward, in breath, out breath, then back. Lift up, in breath, out breath, a downward stretch. We're going to hold the downward stretch a little longer. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. And again, lifting up. In breath, bring the hands together at the chest. And the out breath, hands to the sides. Close the eyes, feel the whole body. Hold that outline of the standing body in the mind's eye. Feel that activated life force sensation. Feel that organic aliveness and activated life force. cellular vibrations interacting, producing sensation, present moment, body-centered awareness, natural awareness. Starting point for any deeper meditation. Okay, so now mindfully come back to your seat, get ready for the sitting awareness. So just try to sit in a get comfortable in your sitting posture. To align your spinal column and the back of your head in a straight line. Keep the chin lifted up, level with the floor. Gently close the eyes. Try to feel the outline of the sitting body, head balanced on top. The arms hanging at the sides, hands touching together. Feet tucked underneath. Buttocks pressing the seat. All those different contact points create the outline of the body. Then begin some deep, slow breathing as we did in the yoga session. Take 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 2 seconds to give time for the oxygen to get out into the bloodstream, and slowly breathe out. You feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Let's take several more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sit connecting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to count our breaths from 1 to 10 to try to develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that with your breathing, your concentration. So on the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the air in 1 or 2 seconds. With the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lung. Next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. In 9. Out 9. In 10. Out 10. Now discontinue the counting so that your breathing return to its uncontrolled, shorter, irregular rhythm. But continue to feel it, to observe it. Keep your attention focused on the residual expanding and contracting movements of your abdomen, rib cage, your chest. Just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling it, feeling those sensations, expanding and contracting, the sensation of the air moving through the nostrils. Just try to notice the 4 phases of each breath cycle, the expanding in breath and the brief pause, the contracting out breath and the brief pause, just over and over and over and over again. To help stay focused, you can use these brief mental reminders. In sitting, out, sitting. It's the ongoing, continuous present moment of this breathing body. In sitting, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment. Just letting go of your thoughts. Just let the thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Just keep the sensations of the breathing body in front of the awareness. Feel the brief pauses between the breaths. During those brief pauses, feel the outline of the body. In sitting, out, sitting. You still have lots of thoughts. You can try counting the breaths by yourself again from 1 to 10. See if you can make it to 10 on your own without the mind getting either going to sleep or getting lost in thought. Or you can come back to take some more deeper, slow breaths to help stay awake and grounded in the body. Keep turning up the power of the mental microscope. Notice subtler, more detailed sensation in the breathing process. The more details you can notice, the more concentrated you become. So be like a scientist looking down through a microscope. In sitting, out, out, sitting. You catch yourself lost in thoughts, recognize it as lost, lost. Take a deep, slow breath, bring the mind back into the body, back to the counting, back to in, sitting, out, out, sitting. Even while feeling the breathing, you can notice other sensations coming and going, arising and vanishing, in or around through breathing awareness, body sensation. Breathing is occurring in the center of the body, but all around it, other sensations are arising and vanishing, flow of impermanence. some unpleasant sensation, maybe some pleasant sensation. Body keeps sitting and breathing, sitting and breathing. Even while thoughts are also coming and going in the back of the mind. Urges, desires, memories. The connection to the breathing helps to keep the mind centered, stabilized in the midst of all that impermanent. Even if there's sounds in your house, the sounds just arise and vanish. Opening up to the flow of impermanence is the second stage of meditation. From time to time, take a few more deep, slow breaths. Keep the system pumped up with oxygenated blood. Help stay grounded, awake in the body. Feel more and more sensation. In, sitting. Out, out, sitting. With each out breath, just allow the body and mind to relax more and more into the present moment. Feeling subtler and finer sensation. Noticing subtler thoughts moving through the back of the mind. In sitting, out, sitting. So many different sensations come and go. Pleasure or pain come and go. Sounds come and go. Perceptions, thoughts, ideas, urges come and go. Thoughts of I, me, and mine come and go. These are all just a continuous flow of impermanence and change of the five aggregates, their nature of impermanence, arising and vanishing moment by moment. This breathing body is the anchor for our mind at the present moment. We lose that connection to the breathing body, the present moment. The mind either goes to sleep, gets carried away in the flood of thoughts, ideas, emotions. From the moment you are born to the moment you die, this breathing body is your constant companion. The only thing that's reliable or constant that never leaves you. Everything else comes and goes. You have a good level of concentrated awareness. You're keeping up with the flow of impermanence. Just try to become like an empty house with nobody home to answer the call, knocking on the doors and windows. But there's a sensitive microphone in the house that knows but doesn't know. Silent witnessing awareness. Just allow that remaining sense of I, me, in the mind and gradually fade away into the background. To that expanded ocean of awareness. Present moment awareness. Now let's spend the last few minutes of the meditation cultivating, sending out thoughts of metta, or friendliness, kindness, best wishes toward ourselves and all other beings. Again, let's take a few deep, slow breaths. Just keep watching your body and mind, sitting and breathing. Just cultivating this train of thought to yourself. May I be well, peaceful, and wise. May I be free from excessive attachment and greed, anger and hatred, jealousy, envy, fear, pride, and ignorance. May I be free from the self-created pains of body and mind brought about by such unskillful thought, speech, and action. May I also have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. May I be able to continue to deepen my understanding of the Dhamma and the practice of meditation to help free the mind from confusion and suffering. May I be well, peaceful, and wise. Still keep in touch with your breathing, and with each out breath, just imagine these same sort of thoughts going outward, sending these thoughts to your parents, other family members, relatives, good friends, teachers you've had in school or other places, neighbors you've had since childhood up to the present. All the ordinary folks out there that are struggling to make ends meet, encountering all kinds of problems and suffering. Just thinking, may all of them be well, happy, and peaceful, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance, free from the self-created sufferings of body and mind brought about by their unskillful thought, speech, and action. May they also have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. If they haven't already, may they also have the opportunity to hear the teachings of the Dhamma, to learn and practice meditation, to help free their minds from confusion and suffering. May they be well, peaceful, and wise. May all living beings throughout the whole world and beyond, wherever they might be, living near or far away, rich or the poor, weak or the strong, famous or the obscure, may all living beings be well, peaceful, and wise. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. Just like a mantra reverberating throughout space. well, peaceful, and wise. Dukkha patacani dukkha bhaya patacani bhaya sokha patacani sokha Ontu sabbe pipaninu. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. Thus spoke the Buddha. Now I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times. Slowly we do the chanting on it, or we'll take a deep breath and do that chanting of sadhu on a long out breath, feeling those vibrations in your body and mind. So take a deep breath. Sadhu. In breath. Now place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath. As you breathe in, stretch your head back, pull the hands on your knees to arch the spine backwards. Look up at the ceiling. Breathe in, lift the head up, and on the out breath, press the chin to the top of the chest. Stretch the neck vertebrae. Raise the chin up level on an in-breath. Relax on the out breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So our evening Dhamma discussion, meditation coming to an end.
was such a beautiful evening
And
session.
hope you're all able to get at least some
Mhm.
moments or minutes of some peaceful present moment awareness. Try to keep up your meditation during the week, especially try to practice the M&Ms or the minutes of mindfulness during the day. They help keep the mind in a more centered state. Okay, so be well, be peaceful, be wise. Mindfulness a day keeps dukkha away. And Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante.
Next week.
Namo Buddhaya. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Bhante. Thank you.
Bhante.
Welcome.
Thank you, Bhante.
Have a good night,
Good
everyone.
night. Thank you. You too.
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
You, everyone.